Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Captain's Recap. Of course, I am your host, Captain B-Nard, and this week we are going to be discussing the Battle Hub Draft League Season 7, Weeks 5 and 6, the next installment of our every other week check in here. And today I have a special guest appearing for the first time on one of these shows. You guys know him, you love him. He is referred to by many as the Italian Stallion, but of course, he is Kingbura. Welcome aboard.
Buongiorno a tutti. Hello, everyone. This is Kingbura, and thank you, Cap, for having me.
No problem, man. No problem. And now we finally have an answer to how you pronounce it. It's Kingbura, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Kingbura.
Kingbura. Perfect. All right. Cool. Yes, that was a hot topic of debate last time. I think with my last guest. So I decided, you know what? Let's go straight to the source and get us an answer, and we have it. So
Yeah, that's it. Let's
So,
go.
but yeah, I am happy to have you on board. I am a fan of your content, of your work, and I am looking forward to hearing your insight on these big games that we had play out. You definitely have some cool and interesting strategies and sets in Pokemon, and so yeah, definitely looking forward to hearing your insight into these matchups.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And yes, of course, we had two very exciting weeks with a lot of great games to talk about. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Yeah, we're going to waste no further time and jump right into it, and we're going to start off with Week 5. So,
Mhm.
we have our Week 5 matchups here. This is the halfway point in the season, so we are over that hump at this point. We're just going to go right down the list here from the game results. So, as you can see, the first matchup of the week we wanted to talk about here was Stefan versus Lazy Boy. So, we can see the season kind of taking shape here at this point, obviously, in the halfway point. So, um, these two teams have been teams that have been struggling a little bit, I think, for this season, kind of toward the bottom of the pack here. Bearing that in mind, we will
Mhm.
see here that it was actually Lazy Boy that did take a pretty sizable 4-0 victory here over Stefan in a pretty
Yeah.
wild matchup. Um, I
Yes,
believe.
this was.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it
Yeah,
away.
sorry. Yeah, just wanted to state that this was the first game for Lazy Boy with his new team, and I say this because he changed his team basically twice this season. The first time when he replaced Zeus, he
Yes.
changed basically the whole team, and then after I believe 2 3 weeks, he wasn't still comfortable with what he had, so he decided to use all five of his transactions to change a lot. And now from this five on, he finally, I believe, found the right,
Combination.
yeah, combination of Pokemons, because now he has a strong core with his Dodging Fire that he already have. He now has Ursaluna Blood Moon, Terra Hatterene, Zuian Havalug, Araquanid, some slow but strong mounts. And in this game in particular, he was able to use them very well. That this was basically a Gojin Fire masterclass, 4 kills for Gojin Fire.
Yes.
Um, he set up the screen very well with Sableye, light screen, T wave on the Volcanion, and then thanks to the early work from Ursaluna Blood Moon that weakened, I believe, both the Glimora and Latias, Gojin Fire can go in, booster energy, Dragon Dance, and it's basically GG under screens. Stefan had nothing left to deal with that monster.
Yeah, you said it absolutely. I was gonna say big gouging fire game. This was
Yeah.
pretty much like a textbook usage of a Pokemon like gouging fire. Like you said, you set up, you weaken the team with everything else, and then you just kind of bring gouging fire in to get that clean up at the end of the game. So, four
Mhm.
big kills, and I do agree with what you said as far as the transactions go. I think with a lot of those transactions that he made, he definitely did a much better job of supporting the gouging fire, and he's really trying to save his season, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
and you love to see it because usually when coaches get kind of in a rough patch toward the middle of the season, there's two different mindsets you can take. You can kind of just give up and you can be like, oh well, it just is what it is. This isn't my season. Or and you can just try to have some fun with it, or you can buckle down and really try to save your season, make some transactions, do some things differently. And I think Lazy Boy definitely did just that, and it was a big payoff for him this week with a big win. So
Yeah, absolutely. He also needed that differential because he lost, I believe, 5-0 last week, week four. So he
yep.
needed that, and now I believe he's back on the track to try to reach that a small spot on the playoff.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to say it's one of those things where as we take a look at when we take a look at the standings at the end of the video, you'll really see that differential is going to be a
Yeah,
big thing this season. I think for a lot of coaches, not just for like getting into playoffs, but also for positioning in the playoffs too. So, um, yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yep, definitely big ups to Lazy Boy for getting it done in this one. So.
Mhm.
Moving on to the next game here, we're going to take a look at Abomination versus RK9er. And so in this situation, these are two coaches that have had pretty different seasons. So Abomination, despite his kind of low ranking on the power rankings video that we did quite some time ago, has really had a pretty fire season. So far, he's been one of the top performers, whereas RK9er has kind of struggled a little bit this season. But as you can see here, it was Abomination who took a narrow 2-0 victory over RK9er in a pretty hotly contested battle. And it appears like, just looking at the numbers, that the fabled Abomination Jolteon really put some work in this game.
Yeah, I remember Al bringing a very interesting and diabolical whimsical set with substitute stun spore, leech seed, and moonblast. That was very annoying
That
for
is
Arcanine.
diabolical. You got that right.
But actually, I learned something in this game because I learned that
Okay.
Rapid Spin frees you up from Leech Seed, and I didn't know that. So
Really?
Arcanine use is Cryogonal to do so.
Nice.
And after that, it it got a little scary for Al because Metagross got a +1 with his Meteor Mesh, and so Al had to suck a couple of pieces to that. But then, after Ursaluna is able to kill the Metagross, I remember Terra, Ice, Flame Orb, Quick Fit Jolteon,
Mm,
basically able to outspeed the entirety of Arcanine's team, and he has the coverage to kill Booster Energy Iron Valiant, Flying, Terra Flying Tundurus, and Garchomp. So at that point, Terra Jolteon was able to clean the game thanks to his speed with the quick fit.
yeah, that is a great combination. Al's used it a lot before, and having Terra on Jolteon
Yeah.
is a big plus. Honestly, I've drafted Jolteon before, not as a Terra captain, and it is really limited without that. But getting that extra coverage, specifically that Terra Ice on Jolteon, Terra Blast Ice, is just so good. And Jolteon, like you said, under Quick Feet, just really fast, really reliable. So it's one of those Pokemon that it's a decent enough Pokemon on its own, but when you add Terra to the mix, it just really becomes a force to be reckoned with. So
Yeah, his speed tier alone is very, very important, especially in this kind of metagame.
absolutely, 100%. So definitely a big up to Al for continuing the wave of momentum there this week. So Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is going to. Speaking of momentum, that is going to bring us to, or I should say, lack thereof, maybe. That's going to bring us to our next game, which is actually Emerald Miner versus Zachmander. And I like Emerald Miner a lot, but I have to say this certainly has not been his season. So, um,
Yeah.
going up against Zachmander, who has actually been one of the coaches who has done the best this season. He's been one of the top performers. So you would think going into this match that Emerald Miner would definitely be the underdog. But as you can see, it was in fact Emerald Miner who took a pretty big 4-0 victory here over Zachmander, breaking that losing streak, kind of getting the monkey off his back, so to speak. And this seems like it was a pretty solid game, top to bottom. Just looking at numbers, I don't really see. I see Urshifu put some work in for him, but yeah, it seemed like a pretty even game.
Yes, as you said, standing wise, this basically was a big upset because Emerald was 0-4 against Dak being 4-0 before this game. So you maybe can think that, oh, Zack Matter is going to stay undefeated. Actually, Emerald brought a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of great text this game. I remember him using a gastro acid Electros to remove the ability from Gliscor, and from that point on, Gliscor, of course, loses health with the Toxic Orb instead of gaining it. And
Love
then
it.
he used, I believe, a Scarf Outrage Rory Moon to get the kill on said Gliscor.
Mhm.
And he also Rindoberry Hushifu to get a couple of kills. Also on Ogerpon 2, uses his berry, and he closes out the game then with his Terrafire Iron Moth. So basically, all of Emerald's mons, all of what he brought in this game, put in some great work, and so great prep from Emerald. And with this game at this point, he's trying to get his last desperate push. With his win, he goes 1-4. So now he has to win out to try, to still contend a spot.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I think like this was a perfect example of like when you're in that situation, right? Like you said, where you really just need to kind of win out from that point forward to have a chance of getting into the playoffs. You really have to get super creative and you have to think outside the box, and he did just that. Like you said, the gastro acid on the Gliscor, it's a thing of beauty, it is. But um
Yeah.
yeah, that's he really put in the work there. I think also this might, and I'm not saying this happened for sure, but I think sometimes when coaches feel like they're locked into playoffs already, like they have great records, they might start to like slouch a little bit. And I'm not saying that's what happened here because
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but I can speak from experience when I say that sometimes coaches start taking their games a little less lightly. And BHDL, I know you've been here a few seasons now, as I
Mm.
have been here since the beginning. I can tell you BHDL is one league that you can't sleep on any single week, any single opponent, no matter what
Yeah.
their record is, no matter who they are, because these players are top tier. So
Yes, absolutely. I believe a lot of players that now you can see at the bottom of our standings,
mhm.
in a lot of other leagues are at the top. So
Yes,
that shows how strong this league is really.
absolutely agree completely. So speaking of strength and power, that is going to bring us to
Wow.
our next game. As you can see, that is going to be former winner, twice actually, Scorpion, taking on the notorious HYM, as he likes to say. I always love how it feels like Scorpion and HIM play every season, and so it seems to be like a similar situation. So Scorpion has been
Yeah.
having a very solid season. HIM has been having a little bit of a rougher season, and
Mhm.
as you can see by the results of this match, it was kind of a David versus Goliath, where Goliath did in fact win. As you can see, Scorpion takes a huge 6-0 victory. I believe actually the first 6-0 victory might be the first 6-0 victory this entire season for any coach.
Yes,
Correct
it
me.
is. Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So that was crazy. And as you can see, the Urshifu single strike and the Terra Iron Crown really just kind of went in and ripped HIM apart in this one,
Yeah.
unfortunately for him.
Yeah. So a funny thing about this game is that, as you said, Scorpion and HIM tend to fight quite often in
Hmm.
this league, and they fought in season 5, and Scorpion won that game 6-0. So yeah, I believe that Scorpion, I don't know, probably has a grudge on HIM, but
Maybe, who
something like
knows? I
that.
mean, he always says how much he likes him. So, but I don't know. He's when it gets time to get to business, it's the hands fly, But
Yeah, he enters God mode against him. But I believe in this game that probably it was most like a massacre. Scorpion had a Scarf, Terra Steel, Iron Crown. He had the Specs Gengar. Used, of course, well, as you said, his Urshifu. Of course, against Urshifu, you want to bring a Fairy type. Notorious HIM was thinking about his Terra Fairy Torterra, but actually during the game, he discovered that he had the wrong Terra on Torterra.
oh
So he
no,
couldn't, Terra him anymore because he already declared to his opponent that he was Terra Fairy. So of
ah,
course that also was kind of heavy on the differential. I believe Scorpion still wins this game, but maybe with the right Terra, HIM wouldn't be able to at least lower the gap.
Yeah, yeah, that's I didn't know that piece of information you just said. I actually wasn't aware of that. So yeah, that's definitely a huge blunder for sure. Yeah, it
Mhm.
does happen though. It happens to the best of us for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's a huge error that it like you said. I think it definitely doesn't end up as a 6-0 if not for that.
yeah,
But yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes, unfortunately, things happen. We've seen in the past in this league and in others, I'm sure. Mistakes are made, things happen, and
yeah,
it
absolutely.
is what it is. So,
We've all been there.
indeed. So, but yeah, moving on, we are going to actually come to your game, actually,
Yep.
Kingbura, and that is going to be versus Brandon P, another seasoned BHDL participant, one of only two people to actually participate in all 6 seasons of the Battle Hub Draft League. So, yeah, and as you can see, it was Brandon did actually get the better of you in this one, getting a narrow 2-0 victory. But this is your game, so I will let you kind of tell us what happened with this one.
Yep. So at this point of the season, we all know it's established that Brandon is the top heel of our federation. No, so I,
Yes,
I mean we got the cover. We know that. So
yes,
when you play against Brandon, you gotta be prepared to what is coming to you.
yes.
But I absolutely wasn't prepared to two flamethrower burns and
Oof.
two consecutive Zen headbutt flinches. I wasn't prepared for that. So that was kind of huge
Yes.
from Brandon's side. But at the end of the game, he played very well. I have to say that. Yes, I was very unlucky, but he was able to keep in the back his win condition that was his Terror Ground Dragon Dance Mew with Dragon Dance Earthquake Triple Axel. I don't remember the fourth move because he didn't use it,
Hmm.
but he did a great job by weakening my team, killing my Clefable. That was probably the only thing stopping that Mew. And in the end game, Mew came in and did this mini sweep, 2 kills, but did what he had to do. Of course, the double flinch from his Cinderace with Zen Headbutt on my task was huge because I was going for knockoff that at that point would have been super effective on the psychic type Cinderace.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of harsh, but still, I believe that Brandon was the better player in this game because he was able to keep safe his win condition in the back.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do think that it's one of those things where so obviously there's percentages of luck and skill in everything that we do in the game
Mhm.
that we play here, and I think that when you have a player playing well and also getting that luck on his side, it's really hard to try and
Yeah,
overcome that, you know. So I do think that was kind of the story of this game. Yeah, is when you got that combination of luck and skill working together. Like Brandon had that going for him in this game, and certainly that pushed him over the finish line. I think. I
yeah, he
always.
did at least two or three great calls, two or three 50-50 that he got that right. So
Yep.
again, props to him.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's interesting for sure because Brandon's definitely he like you guys have both been having a good season as far as I know here this season.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it was one of those matches where I thought it was going to be interesting to see who would come out on top because you both have been doing well. So um,
Mhm.
for sure.
Of course.
So but yeah, that is going to go ahead and feed us to our next game, which is going to be my game actually, as I took on Twisted Games. So um, as you can see here, well, as far as our seasons are concerned, I will say I've been probably one of the only coaches having like a mid-season. I will say so. I've had my ups and downs. Twisted, on the other hand, had not been having a very good season up until this point. So,
Mm.
as you can see, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, it does pain me to say this, but he Twisted was 0-4 going into this match, and he ended up getting his first win of the season at my expense, which is not something I enjoy very much.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is what happened. He did take the win in a narrow 1-0 victory here in this game. Um, so so here's my thoughts on this game. So
Mhm.
going into this game, I actually did. This was one of the few games that I actually did feel like. I don't want to say like I wasn't feeling super confident, but I wasn't not feeling confident either because this is one of the few teams that had a pretty weak normal type on its side in the form of gumshoes. So
Gumshoes.
a lot of the teams that I face. Um, Unfortunately for me, because Spectrier is my big hitter this season on the Philadelphia Pidgeys. Um, a lot of the teams that I face have a pretty premier either normal and or dark type, and this team didn't really have either, to my knowledge. So, if I remember correctly, yeah, this team didn't really have either a premier normal or a premier dark type. So I thought, okay, I actually feel like I have a pretty decent matchup on paper here, and he did come prepared for the Spectrier, that's for sure. He came with Terra Dark, Landorus, I believe, and then he came with the gumshoes, obviously. So no matter how suboptimal of a normal type you are, you're still immune to Ghost. So that is
Yeah.
that is a big plus. In the early goings of this match, I really did feel like I was in the driver's seat. I felt like I had control. So with the lead off, I kind of figured he was going to lead off with Palafin to get it in hero form as you normally would. Got to get some chip damage on it with a Rocky Helmet on Scizor, I believe it was. And then I was able to keep momentum pretty early in the game, in my opinion, pivoting and that kind of stuff. Um, I had one of two end games in my mind. So the end games that I was thinking of were either Terra Unburden Hitmonlee or Spectrier if I could get rid of that gumshoes, because again, no matter no matter what, Ghost is immune to normal unless you've got that ring target or something. So
Yeah.
or I should say normal is immune to Ghost, vice versa. Well, both are true. Anyway, so in the end with this game, the big story to me of this game, because I feel like I did actually prep pretty well for this game. I actually brought physical Gudra to this game, which is something that I don't believe I've
Yeah.
ever brought to a draft league game before. But I actually felt like it could put some work in. Um, but to me, I feel like I played very poorly in this game. So and what I mean by that is early on there was a situation where Goudreau was facing
Bronson.
the Bronzong, yes, and I felt like I actually could have set up on the Bronzong with the Gudra, but I decided not to because I was like, it's too early. But what I didn't really realize at the time was that I think most of his team hit on the physical side, and so I felt like if I had and Gudra is naturally specially bulky, right? So if I had got to
Mhm.
set up curses, I feel like I could have done a lot of damage with the Gudra before it eventually went down. So that was a big mistake on my side, was not taking the chance to set up with Gudra. Um, there were a couple more big ones in the game, I think, but another big one was it was 50-50, I guess, but the way that I played the Hitmonlee, the Terra Hitmonlee, was kind of 50-50. So like I feel like not clicking Swords Dance. I probably had like two or three turns where I could have clicked Swords Dance and it would have been okay, but I was just
Mm.
kind of like too worried about clicking it and then getting KO'd, because we were kind of playing like games with, because obviously this season is open Terra, where you have to tell your opponent what your Terra is before the match starts. So he knew I was Terra Grass on the Hitmonlee, so we were kind of playing mind games of, oh, does he go for Earth Power? Does he go for Sludge
Yeah.
Wave against with the Landorus versus the Hitmonlee? So I was nervous about those mind games, and I didn't want to overcommit, and that turned out to, I think, be the reason I lost, because had I been able to get just one Swords Dance up, I would have had enough of a boost where I wouldn't have to worried about clicking close combat, lowering my defense, and then putting myself within Palafin Jet Punch range. Um, so that was part of the reason I was Terra Grass, actually, is I, even though Hitmonlee has god awful defense, I knew that a Terra Grass Hitmonlee with a little bit of defensive investment could easily tank even like a Choice Banded Jet Punch from Palafin. Um, so yeah, so I feel like I
Mm.
played really badly in this game, honestly, and some of them were like deadly 50-50s, obviously, but I do feel like I played kind of badly, and I allowed myself to be put into a situation where the end game was just like I couldn't break gumshoes with Spectrier because I just didn't have the set this week for it, and I couldn't outspeed Palafin after I lost on Burden with Hitmonlee. I couldn't outspeed it, so I do think that I played. Those are the biggest examples that come to my mind. But not to take away anything from my opponent, I do think he was on his game this match. I do think his prep was good as well. Um, but looking back on it, I do feel like this is a game that I could have won had I just played better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, first of all, of course, props to Twisted. He played well. He's
For
actually
sure.
a very good coach. Of course, he was 0-4 going into this game, but yeah, one of these four was a forfeit loss. And I remember against me, I won 1-0, but I had to pray to hit three consecutive hurricanes in a row. So
Yeah,
I got even lucky with him. So not definitely not an easy coach to beat, absolutely.
for sure.
And I believe your, as you said, your prep was very good. And of course, I remember very well that turn with Gudra versus Bronzong. That was a strange set with, I believe, Trick Room, Calm Mind, but Rock Slide Bronzong. So very interesting.
Yep.
And I believe you could have set up at least a curse there. But yeah, you also made some right calls. I mean, with Itmon Lee against Delando, there was a couple of turns where you actually made the right call by not clicking Terra and then click it after. But
Yes.
yeah, eventually you didn't pull the trigger with the Source Dance, and that probably costed you.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, and I kicked myself for it, but it is what it is. It's like the thing that I always think about these draft league games is, so if I'm in a situation, if I lose a game, right, I would much rather
Mhm.
prefer to lose a game if like there was nothing I could have done about it, if that makes sense. So I've lost like earlier in the season where I drop a game, I'm like, okay, well, you know, there realistically there wasn't anything I could have done about it, but I really kick myself when I think like, oh, if I only had just done this differently,
Mm.
and that's
Mm.
those I kick myself. But yeah, definitely it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
it was what it was, unfortunately, but definitely twisted. Like I said, he played well, he prepped well, he did what he had to do for sure, and yeah, it's did not turn out in my favor, but um,
And that was, by the way, a very entertaining game. So probably
yeah,
the best game of this week. So GG to both of you.
thank you, thank you. So yeah, moving on from that, we are going to come to Pokemaster versus Cody, and so Pokemaster has not been having the best season himself either, unfortunately. Cody, one of those coaches who he actually hasn't been having the greatest season either, but a little more of a mixed bag as well. Um, so they went head to head here this week. Pokemaster actually the only other coach to be the 7-for-7 BHDL record with participation. But as you can see, it was Cody who in fact took a solid 3-0 victory here in this one. Seems like the
Mhm.
Ukadugi and the Ogrepon Hearthflame did some work in this one to the team coached by
Yeah.
Pokemaster.
So the first thing that that stood to my mind watching these games from Pokemaster's perspective
Mm.
was that Chris brought four heavy duty boots months,
Jesus
and
Christ,
at this
I
point,
didn't even know
I mean,
that.
at this point, why four? Just go all six and full commit.
Yeah, I was gonna
It
say.
was really funny to watch that. The game was kind of fast paced. Cody didn't bring his down fund, so Rotom Heat was able to switch around with his volt switches.
Hmm.
Really a game of positioning and switching around. Great back and forth. So Cody gets a kill, Chris gets a kill. I believe Dragapult dies to the burn of Rotom Heat, to the Will Wisp of Rotom Heat after being weakened by Darkrai, of course.
Right.
Then Primarina kills Darkrai. Keldeo kills Primarina. Ogerpon, I believe, kills the incoming Salamence with a bit of luck because Salamence was intimidated. So Salamence clicked Hydro Pump but misses on the Ogerpon
Ah,
that was weakened. And then after that, Cody is in advantage and is able to close the game with Ogerpon and Okidoj in the back had the coverage to kill the Terra poison Keldeo. So yeah, a pretty much back and forth game, and those kind of games where really a miss or a misplay can put you in a bad spot,
mhm.
and probably that's what happened here.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of these games do just come down to one move at the end of the day, which is, just speaks to the highly competitive and close nature of the league. Is just, so many games come down to just like one turn, one move. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, moving on, that will bring us to our last match of the week, and that was, in fact, DRV versus Raymond. So the former two-time champion himself, Raymond. And so I believe going into this match, both of these coaches had a solid record. I think Ray was undefeated at this point. DRV
Hmm.
was still, he had dropped a game, but he was, still great record, only one loss. And as you can see, which in what would many would consider an upset actually here was DRV that actually took the win. Pretty solid 3-0 win versus the former two-time champ Raymond. And so, looking at the numbers here, uh, that Hydrapple, man, that Terra Hydrapple has just put in so much work for DRV this season. 4 kills in this match against Raymond. Crazy.
Yeah, Terra Hydrapol is really dominating this league so far.
Yes.
Those two, by the way, are the probably are the greatest chefs of this league in terms of cooking and on bringing unorthodox but very working and cool sets.
Yeah.
Of course, Raymond, we know him, two-time champ, an all-time great of BHDL. But DRV is doing very well since season 5. Is always improving,
Yep.
and he brought interesting stuff this game too. Turn one was already very huge because he DRV led with Mousehold against Moltres, which was Scarf Terra Flying. Of course, if you're Mousehold, you don't want a population bomb against Flame Body Mon,
Of
but he
course.
had protective pets. So he clicks population bomb, and he's lucky enough to hit all of the hits to one shot the Moltres.
Oh, jeez.
So that was huge, really, for
No,
DRV.
no wide lens, no
No,
nothing,
why
nothing
nothing,
needed.
just
Yeah,
raw,
nothing
raw
needed. No,
population.
no luck loaded dice, nothing needed. Just hit all 10. I did see that. That
Yeah,
was crazy.
that was huge, and so he immediately gets on the driver's seat because you kill the Terra captain of your opponent in turn one. So that was very huge.
Yep.
Ray is able to crawl back into the game with the combination of Flygon, Outrage Flygon plus Doom Desire Jirachi, getting a couple of kills. Then there's a very important turn with Terra Electric Hydrapple that tanks an Outrage, kills Flygon with Fickle Beam. Ray comes in with Azu. Now, Azu is faster than Hydrapple, that he's at 40%. So Azu can anchor the Hydrapple into the Dragon type move, and that's what Raymond is trying to do. But DRV switches out. Now, that switch was really risky because if Raymond clicked Belly Drum, that was a Belly Drum set with Azu, it's basically GG.
Yeah.
DRV has what he has left in the back is a Scarf Crook. He has Weakened Petrod and Paralyzed, so Azu can win if he Belly Drum there, but
Yeah.
Ray probably predicted DRV to stay in, so he went for Anchor, and that basically was a wasted move because DRV actually switched out,
Yeah.
and so he loses the opportunity to belly drum. And from that point on, Ray didn't have that opportunity anymore, and then the DRV ends up winning. Hydrapple ends up doing what he's doing all season, killing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think this is one of the rare instances, and I don't say this lightly, because I do have a lot of respect for Ray as a player because I've watched him from season one, and he is consistently one of the best players in the league, and so I do think this matchup was a case and point of DRV outmaneuvering Ray, of outplaying Ray, and that is a pretty big rarity, honestly, in matches. Like, I've seen Ray lose games before, but it is a rare loss when Ray is actually outmaneuvered, in my opinion, in my experience. And so I do think this game was a case of that. So this was definitely something that you don't see every day. In BHDL, so I do give all the credit in the world to DRV because he came to play in this one, and he had the sets, he made the right calls, and like I said, that Terra Hydra Apple just put in so much work as it has been all season. So
Yeah, by watching this game from DRV's perspective, he probably wasn't even considering Belly Dramazu because actually Ray, I believe, he didn't ever broke this season the Belly Dramazu.
right,
Uh, so that was kind of even luck for him because, in a sense, if Ray could have punished that move by clicking Belly Drum, that
yeah,
would
it
have
would have been a
been,
different game.
GG. But still, yeah, I agree with the fact that DRV played very well and prepped well. So we gotta give him his props because he's improving, man. He's doing better and better every season, every game. So yeah.
He put the work
Absolutely.
in, absolutely. Yeah, and you to your point, you are correct. There definitely was a little bit of luck there with the pop bomb 10 out of 10 and the
Oh yeah.
the sometimes so here's a funny thing. Sometimes I feel like you make the right read, but for the wrong reason in the game. And I think that was
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like
Absolutely.
what was
Absolutely.
happening there with DRV is that like he made the right call, but he made it for the wrong reason. But at the end of the day, it's still a right call, you know? Because I've
Yeah.
done that. I've been on both sides of that. Like I've made plays where I'm like, I'm going to do this because I think this is going to happen. And then I do it, and something totally different from what I was expecting happens. But it turns out that it still benefits me greatly. Like the move I made still benefits me greatly. So I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
can't complain in that scenario, you know. But
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It's a game we play.
yes,
Absolutely.
indeed. So, but yeah, that is going to cap off week 5. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the week 6 matchups here. And so we are going to take it
Right.
from the top. And as I'm looking at this, I noticed that I feel like Stefan's game is always the first one on the list. I don't know why that is. Like
Yeah.
this is like this is more evidence for the
Yeah.
hashtag rigged Scorpion and his pairings rigging everything up. But you know, it is what it
Is this
is.
because he's the number one seed in the picks? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I don't know why that is. Like, that shouldn't have anything to do with it. I don't think. Like he was number one in the draft order, but I don't think that should have anything to do with this. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe there's some algorithm we don't know about, or maybe Scorpion's just rigging the whole thing.
Yeah. Just
Who's to
Scorpion rigging the league as always.
who's to say? You know. But
Yeah.
anyway, so as you can see, Stefan this week took on Abomination, and as I mentioned, these guys have been having kind of polar opposite seasons here. Um,
Mm.
but Stefan not one to give up. If he's going to go down, he will go down swinging for sure. I believe Stefan. I don't know if this was the week he made a bunch of transactions or was the week after. I don't remember.
He made it in
It
week
was
six,
after the
but
game. Yeah, it was
they're
after the game.
effective in week 7. So
Yep, he made it up after the game. Gotcha. So we won't
yeah,
get into
exactly.
that. So yeah, as you can see here, it was Abomination who did take a relatively narrow 2-0 victory here over Stefan. Looking at the numbers here, it was the okay. Give me a second, because I always take a lot of I take a lot of criticism for how I pronounce this Pokemon's name, so I got to get it right. Hold on, it's Kirem. Kirem.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it's good.
Kirem.
I'm
There
not
we go.
very good on pronunciation, but I
That's
believe
okay.
it's okay.
This is the one Pokemon that, for some reason, I have the biggest difficulty pronouncing. I always my knee jerk reaction is to say Kyurem. I don't know why, but you know we all know that's wrong. Anyway, but it was the Kirem that put in a lot of work for Al this game, actually scoring 3 kills, and putting some work in on Stefan.
Yeah. Yep, there was a Scarf Kyurem with
Yes.
Specs Jolteon combining with him. So a very strong special core from Abomination. Actually, um, Al was about, Al was thinking about maybe potentially trading Kyurem because before this game. If you look at the title of his video, it's like Kyurem last chance or something like that.
Yeah, he was about to
So
kick it to the curb, and then it showed up big for him.
yeah, so Kyurem decided, you know what, I'm staying here, and he did very well with those 3 kills. Um, in the early game, I remember Stefan killing Slowking with, with a very lucky combination of Earth Power special defense drop from Glimora plus a crit from Power Gem. So Slowking goes down, and it gets kind of scary because Stefan has in the back choice specs Terrafire Volcanion. So
Mm.
with no Slowking around, that thing can be scary. But Abomination had more firepower. Again, Specs Jolton super fast against no ground types on the opposing side.
Yep.
And of course, Scarf Kyurem doing a great job. So Abomination is able to still score the win there.
Absolutely, yeah. And Al is a good is let me say it this way. Al is good for identifying and capitalizing on weaknesses. So that's something he does very well. So he notices holes in teams, and he goes in and he exploits them, and he does that really well. And I like the way he does it. I like his style, and definitely I think he saw the opening for Kiram in this game. He saw the opening, like you said, to abuse pivoting with Jolteon as well, and it really worked out for him. So
Yeah, he's also very good at pulling out the potential of his mons, I believe. So
yes.
maybe his team wasn't ranked very high on the power rankings, but he definitely had a vision, and you can see it very well now.
He's one of those coaches that's very good at piloting the teams that he creates.
Yeah.
So like even if he creates a team that's maybe objectively on paper not the strongest team, he creates a team that he's good at piloting, and that matters more than on paper what it says. So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, so moving on from that game, that is going to bring us to Emerald Miner versus Lazy Boy. So once again, two coaches have not have the best of seasons here. But as you can see in this one, this was a real close one, but it was in fact Lazy Boy continuing the momentum here with a narrow 1-0 victory over Emerald Miner. And it seems like the Rillaboom and the Hisuian Avalug, the Terra Hisuian Avalug, I believe that is, put the
Yeah.
work in this game. I got to say one thing though, I'm disappointed. I'm continually disappointed that my old number one Philadelphia Pidgeys number one star Sneasler has been kind of languishing on this team that Lazy Boy has created. Hasn't really seemed to get out of the blocks too much in many of these games, but nonetheless, he got the job done with the Rillaboom and the Terra Hisuian Avalug.
Yeah, this game I believe was kind of crazy. This game showed the versatility of Lazy Boy's team. We talked about his transaction before,
Yep.
and in this particular game, he left home things like Gouging Fire, Terra Tornadoes home, um, Terra Hatterene also left on the bench because he brought a very slow build with the Araquanid and webs,
Yep.
and this Terra Fairy Avalug Hisui that was able to basically wall the entirety of Emerald Miner's team. Once that Araquanid was able to deal with the Iron Moth, at
Mm.
that point, you look at Avalok Izui, Terra Fairy, you look at the rest of Emerald's team, it's basically almost GG because that thing can recover up. So Urshifu is doing nothing. Roaring Moon, same. And at this point, Emerald, you can see by his perspective, he's saying, yeah, I'm losing this game and I'm probably losing 6-0. But
Yeah.
actually, he's able to crawl back. Quagsire, as you said, was able to stop completely wall that Sneasler, thanks to,
Hmm.
of course, his ability unaware and his typing.
Yep.
And from that point on, Emerald tries an incredible and impossible comeback. I believe he went for flinches with his Rorimon, so he start iron heading, and he gets at
Yes.
least 2 or 3 flinches in a row, I believe, and so the game suddenly become super close to a point that um, it's 101, and Avaluk Izui has to live on literally um, 3 or 4 HP or something like that to save himself from dying.
Yep.
And so Lazy Boy ended up winning with his Avaluk, but a game that was actually super in control. He gets uncomfortably close thanks to a great comeback, but also some luck.
Yes, yeah, it was one of those things where like you start off behind like that, like Emerald did, and then you manage to claw your way back into it, and it's like, is he gonna do this? Is he really gonna flip the script like this? And then he's so close, but just not quite. And I will say, Emerald was really trying to channel whatever power of the old heel Emerald he had left in him in this match, because
Yeah.
like we said before, he was really fighting for his life, trying to save the playoffs push. And Emerald is as of now still one of the only coaches to actually make playoffs in every season he's entered the BHDL. So yeah, that's he was trying to pull out all the stops and preying on those hacks, and they did come through for him, but it was not quite enough to get him over the finish line. But like you said, it really doesn't get any closer than this. This was down to the wire. It really just couldn't have been any closer.
Absolutely. And now, Lazy, now it's 3-3. Of course, his differential is not the best. We will see that after in standings, but again, his team is kind of unpredictable. You really don't know against Lazy what he's going to bring, and so really, he's gonna fight hard for that playoff spot.
Absolutely, 100%. So, moving on to the next one, we are going to have another matchup that we've seen quite a lot, I believe, over the years in the BHDL. That is going to be Scorpion versus RK9er. So, once again, kind of a tale of two paths here in the league this season, with Scorpion having a very solid season, RK9er having some trouble. And once again, it is Scorpion taking a commanding 4-0 victory here over RK9er. Once again, I would say, I shouldn't say once again, I should say for I think the first time this season, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the second, but probably first. I want to say it was the Terra Diancie that was really the star of this match
Yeah.
for Scorpion, but also the Gengar definitely put some solid work in as well. I think that's another Pokemon that two Pokemon that he's had that really kind of broke out in this match.
Yeah, I really wanted his Terradiancy to shine because he's probably the only mon that he wasn't able to use it super well until now.
Mm,
And he did that in this game. It actually got quite scary at the start because Arcanine uses his Garchomp to Swords Dance and gets +2 and is looking very scary and healthy in early game. But Scorpion is able to really greatly switching around that thing, going Diancie into Scale Shot, then Lando into the Earthquake, a
yep.
couple of switching around, a couple of Recycle, Intimidate, and suddenly he's able to completely shut down that +2 Garchomp. So very, well, very, very great show of skill there from Scorpion.
Yep.
And
One thing I want to say real
yeah,
quick before I forget to say it is one thing that I have come to know about Scorpion and all the times he's been playing here and all the games of his I've seen is that he is really very good at planning for and playing around worst case scenarios in games. He really does that very very well. So this was definitely a showcase of that.
yeah, he looks like a chess player that it's already 3 4 moves ahead. He was really good at that, and he was able after that to position his Diancie very well to set up a trick room, and after that he used the trick room super well because in four turn lefts he gets like 3 kills with Diancie.
Yeah.
Terra Ground, of course. He also predicted the Arcanine coming in, clicking, I believe, Earth Power against that. And after the Trick Room ends, he let his Diancie dies. He lets his Diancie die, and Life Orb Gengar comes in and seal the deal. So another dominant and strong win for Scorpion that now can sit at the top of the league with a strong differential.
Yeah, these last 2 weeks have definitely been good for him for sure. Been great for him actually, I should say. So yeah, absolutely. Keeping it moving, we are going to then come to your game this week as we see you, Kingbura, taking on Zach Mander. An interesting matchup, of course, because as I kind of alluded to before, you both were having pretty solid seasons as well. Two of the higher ranked coaches in the league this season, and so yeah, of course, as you know, it was you that did take the somewhat narrow 2-0 victory over Zach Mander, and once again, it's your game, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so we both lost our undefeated streak in week 5, so we needed that.
The
We were both
comeback.
searching for that bounce back, of
Yep.
course. And if you look at Zach's team, he's very top heavy, but also very strong and solid with the Zamazenta Crown, with the Deoxys Speed, with the other pawn. Such a big threats from inside. So I decided to go Sticky Web this time with Livani.
Hmm.
Luckily for me, it didn't bring removal. Blastoise wasn't there, so in team preview, I'm like, yeah, once sticky webs are up, I think that my Kilowatt can go to down. He does a great job in early game to deny my sticky web with the taunt from the Oxy Speed. So I had a couple of rough turns really at the start, but at some point I'm able to put the Levani in position to get the sticky webs up, and from that point on, I really get the league. I set up the rain with Clefable, and Terra flying Kilowatt, sorry,
That's okay.
can was able to deal a lot of damage to his team using Weather Ball into his Terra Steel Gliscor, and a couple of Hurricanes to get another couple of kills. So that put me in a driver's seat. And then after that, I believe Clefable and Arcanine are able to seal the deal. So yeah, those sticky webs were really huge. Of course, Zamazenta is very strong, Chiyu, but maybe Chiyu, but Zamazenta and Argerpon, they can't run boots because they are item locked.
Yep.
So on those sticky webs are always going up. And the Oxys, yeah, it can run boots, but you usually want to be sash like it was this time. So
Yep.
I figured that webs were really important in this game. So once that those went up, Kilowatt really was able to carry me to the
Yes.
to
Yep.
the win.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a great example of seeing your opening and taking it. So that's exactly what you did. Like with the, you see in the team preview, oh, he doesn't have removal this week, so I got to get these webs up, because they're going to be there the whole game. They're going to help me greatly. Any chance that anything has about speed and Kilowattrel gone, and so yeah, it's that is, I think, one of, if not the most valuable skill that you can have playing this game, or really any game for that matter, is if it's a direct competition, is if you can think on the fly that quickly and you can notice, okay, like based on now what the information I just got, what he brought, this is really going to work. This is going to do a lot of work to his team, and being able to realize that in the moment and capitalize on it is big. So definitely big props to you for being able to put that together. And I think you played well, and you put the pieces where they needed to go, and you played well to seal the deal for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, Zach is a strong coach. Now he's 42, but I'm sure he will keep doing well because he's very, very strong.
Yeah, how can he not with Zamazenta on his team, right? you know,
Yeah,
you can't not do well with that thing on your team. But
yeah, absolutely.
indeed. So moving to our next one, that is going to bring us to Twisted Games taking on the notorious HYM, of course. And so yeah, two coaches, like I said, who have struggled a little bit. I would say over the years, or I should say over the years. What am I talking about? Struggled a little bit this season, I should say. And so, as you can see, it was the notorious HYM taking a solid 3-0 victory here over Twisted Games. And it looks like he finally, HIM that is, finally got that Gyarados to pop off in this one. So,
Yeah, absolutely. HIM absolutely needed to bounce back after that rough 6-0 that um, it was dealt in week 5 against Scorpion.
mhm,
He brought some interesting set. He had Assault Vest, Crafty, Choice Band, Mimikyu, Scarf Buxcalibur, very interesting.
yeah,
And that Gyarados actually was a defensive set with Intimidate, of course, Waterfall, T-Wave, and I believe Roar or Earthquake, something like that.
yeah,
So that carry does put in a lot of work, paralyzing stuff, killing a couple of months. I believe he got 3 kills with that,
yeah,
and really that was a big positioning game. Coaches switching around every time. HIM is very good at doing some doubles. He calls that the doublés,
yes,
and
the double.
yeah, he does that very, very well. He can play aggressive, and he did that very, very well in this game, particularly.
Absolutely. Yeah, he does like HIM is one of those coaches where he gets it might take him a little bit to get going. I view him almost as like a Reggie Gigas, right? Like, well, he might have a slow start, but once he gets going, man, it is tough to stop him. So, and in case you were wondering, I just thought of that analogy right now. It was not pre-planned. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah. I
thinking
mean,
on the
yeah.
fly. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Once you get that confidence boost, he is very, very scary. Absolutely.
yeah. So definitely big ups to him for sealing the deal in this one. So, moving on to our next game, that is going to bring us to a matchup that is seemingly as old as time itself, and that is going to be the fabled, the old school, the tried and true Pokemaster 88, or I should say Chris, also known as Pokemaster 88 from the Discord server, versus Brandon P. So these guys, I think they're good friends. They go back and forth a lot. Like I said before, only two coaches to actually participate in all 7 seasons of the BHDL here, and very, very back and forth between these two coaches. Although Pokemasters had a little bit of a rocky season, Brandon's had a good season. But in the spirit of the back and forth between the two of them, it was in fact Pokemaster who did take the victory in this match 2-0. Pretty close game there. And it seems like, I would say, let me see here if I can find it. Yep, there we go. So it was in fact the Decidueye and the Mamoswine for Pokemaster. Looks like they put some solid work in this one.
Yeah. So first of all, this is, I believe, the first actual win from Pokemon Master 88, because
Yeah,
the other one was a forfeit win.
right.
So in that, and finally, I say finally, Darkrai did something. Now, I don't know if you are following the chat, but I'm the guy who thinks that Darkrai is a fraud. I
Okay.
mean, I don't
I
think
can
that is a
see why
bad
you would say
Pokemon.
that. I'm a little bit of a split opinion myself, but I certainly see the opinion for why
I
Darkrai.
don't think that it's a bad Pokemon by any means,
Yeah,
but as a first round pick, I think that you should not pick Darkrai.
fair enough.
I don't think it's a 18-point month.
It's not
Okay,
worth it, is what you're saying. I
yeah,
understand.
this is what I'm thinking. But finally, he did something this game with probably what is most scary set, which is the hypnosis set. He clicked hypnosis on the Gudra coming in. He actually missed the first one, and you can see all the you can hear all the frustration from Chris that says something like "Dark Pride, this is your last game. I hate you," something like that. But actually, he hits the second one, and now Darkrai can set up with Nasty Plot, of course, chipping down the Gudra with the Bad Dreams ability.
Yep.
Gudra takes 3 full turns, and this is huge for Chris because he's able again to set up and to kill the Gudra.
Yes.
So he was also able to deal a lot of damage to Raikou. And again, Chris did very well in this game with the Decidueye. It was a Terra Ghost spell tag. The Decidueye, it gets 2 very important kills on Galarian Weezing and on Cinderace. But the
Yeah.
most decisive turn was when, yes, Chris was up, I believe, 4 against 2 or against 3, I don't remember. But Brandon has a chance to come back if he's able to kill the Mamo with his Trailblaze from Ajerpon. Ajerpon uses Trailblaze, Memo lives on 1 HP, and then kills the Ajerpon back with Icicle Crash,
Oof.
and yes, dies to Life Orb, but at the point, there's a Scarf, a Raikou, very weakened against 3 Pokemon, so Pokemaster is able to seal the deal.
Nice.
So huge performance by some of his new mods, because I believe Chris also did some transactions in the last couple of weeks,
Yes.
and those new mods are doing very well for him. Memo, Decidueye, and finally Darkrai did something. So
Yes.
maybe that's something that he can work with in the future.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I agree 100%. So, um, yeah, I do think it's funny because with some of these interactions, right? It's just kind of funny where it's like the anytime you get the epic 1 HP survive is always like it's an interesting prospect. Like I've been on both sides of that. Like when it happens to me, best feeling in the world. When it happens with my opponent, worst thing ever. So it like we
Yeah.
do. So but yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting factors at play. Um, with that. And yeah, when you're at the end of a game like that, like I like so certain Pokemon are I like running choice items on, right? But like in the back of my head, every time I put a choice item on any Pokemon, I always have this fear like I'm gonna be choice locked into an to a move I don't want to be at the end of the game, and I'm gonna lose because of it. You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
if you run
yeah,
like choice item on like an electric Pokemon, you're like you're afraid like okay at the end of the game I'm gonna be like locked into an electric move, and they're gonna have a ground type, and I'm just gonna lose. You know, and so
yeah,
that's sometimes when you get kind of like backed into a corner at the end of a game like that, and there's not much you can do. So, but yeah,
yeah,
definitely big up to Pokemaster for grinding it out and getting the job done in this one for sure.
yeah. Big win for Pokemaster,
Yes.
and
So
he's trying his last push for the playoffs. He's trying.
indeed, absolutely. So, speaking of playoff pushes, that is going to bring us to the next game here, which is going to be my game, where I took on DRV, the artist formerly known as DRVR. And before that, I think he was DRVR79, but won't go down that road. So yeah, as you can see, this was again like for me personally, this has been a very split season for me. I've been up and down. Um, for DRV, he's had a pretty good season. It's a very good season, actually. But as you can see, it was actually me who took a very narrow 1-0 victory over DRV in this game. A game that many people, and I want to say, disclaimer, I am not saying this, but many people are calling a candidate for game of the season here
Yep,
against
I was
DRV.
probably the first one to say it. I
Yes.
love this game.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
this was probably, I said it before at the time and I'll say it again. This was one of, if not my longest, most hard fought draft game I've ever had in all the seasons. I think this is the 11th time that I've entered a draft league in my YouTube life, and yeah, this was one of, if not the hottest, longest, hard fought, just craziest game that I've had. So um, yeah, so early on, I feel like I'm trying to even let me try to flash back to this matchup here. It was so long. Like there was
Yeah,
this game was just so long. This was like damn near an hour was this game. Like we were gonna like I wasn't looking at the timer because I was so dialed in, but had I been looking at the timer, I might have been like, "Oh, like we're gonna run out of time here, like holy shit!" But no, it was the turn one Alolan Ninetales versus the Tornadus, right? So I did something that I rarely do, but I felt like the situation was warranted this weekend as I busted out the old Scarf Alolan Ninetales. And I
yeah,
was like, you know what? This looks really good into two specific Pokemon on his team. Crocodile and Tornadus. And so when he led with Tornadus, I was like, okay, this is perfect. If he's not like significantly defensively invested on this thing, it just gets blown away right out of the gate here because he probably will not predict the Scarf because there are a few people who are dumb enough to run Scarfalola Ninetales, but I am one of them. so
yeah,
it's like I was hoping to catch him, and I caught him off guard with that, and I had a great turn one. Unfortunately, it just so happens that he was defensively invested enough to survive a blizzard, which sucked because that kind of let the cat out of the bag with the Scarf Ninetales and didn't grab me the KO. But I felt like I made the double switch, and I felt like I was very very much dialed in and in the driver's seat in the early goings of this match. I felt like I was firing on all cylinders. I was making the reads. Everything was going well toward the mid game, I did feel like I kind of started to lose some ground. I lost some momentum, and I started taking some unnecessary hits. I think, and losing Scizor, that thing has really not done much for me this season, unfortunately, except come in and die to fire moves. But
yeah,
everything gets a fire move these days. So what am I gonna do?
yeah,
Guess I got to run Akaberry every week. But anyway, that's a different story. So, but yeah, the Pecharunt definitely helped get him some momentum back, brought him back into the game. Terra Hydrapple, as always, is a force to be reckoned with on his side. The Quackleval actually on his side as well. The like Max Spadef Quackleval was really putting in the work as well in this one. So it was a little back and forth. I felt like I was losing ground toward the mid game. Um, but I will say that I stuck it out. I was like, okay, I was in a position where I had Iron Leaves, right, and I was like, well, I can go all in on Iron Leaves right now and hope for the best, and I did, and it did not quite work out. So when Iron Leaves went down, that was my Terra Captain.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like it might have been over for me at that point, like all hope was lost, and I'd still played my outs. I played it out till the end, and we got down to at the end of the game 2 versus 2, right? So I believe it was Rotom just snagged the kill on Pecharunt, so we were down
Mhm.
to 2-2 at this point. So I have my Rotom and my Ninetales. He has his Crocodile and his Hydrapple. So in my head at that point, I was like, okay, I lose. I was pretty sure. I was like 99% sure I lose at that point because I was thinking, okay, he probably comes in with Crocodile. Odds that Rotom lives a hit are basically zero at this point because it had been chipped pretty well.
Mhm.
So he probably comes in with Crocodile. I probably don't take an attack and I lose, and I lose. So Crook kills Rotom. Ninetales comes in, kills Crook, and then Ninetales can't touch or can't take down Terra Steel Hydrapple. So
Yeah.
that was how I saw the end game playing out. And I was thinking the only way that I get out of this is if he either misplays or misclicks, or if he overpredicts, or if the Crook or if the Rotom is able to tank a hit from Crook. So those are my only outs at this point, essentially. So fortunately for me, and you can probably remember this, much to my
Mhm.
surprise on the video, he decides to come in with Hydrapple instead of Crook, like not realizing that the Rotom is Specs. So I'm like, okay, like when I saw him do that, I was like, holy shit, like I have a chance. Like outside of like him over predicting or misplaying, I now actually have a chance to win this game.
Yeah.
So Rotom, my God, put in the work in this game, 3 kills, and I think I'm. It's high time I say this, that I think that Rotom has definitely been the unsung hero of the Philadelphia Pidgeys this season. It's put in a lot of work in all my games this season for the most part. I think maybe only one or so that it didn't, but it really has put the work in this season, and I give all the credit in the world to it. It's been a great asset. I've had drafted it many times before. It's such a reliable Pokemon. Rotom Wash is for a lot of reasons, but yeah. So sure enough, I'm able to snag the kill with the Choice Specs Hydro Pump on the Hydrapple, and then the end game plays out a little differently, where Crook comes in, kills the Rotom, and then Ninetales with that Scarf manages to seal the deal at the end. So I was certainly not expecting to win this game when it got right down to the nitty gritty at the end of it. Like we both played so long and so hard, and I saw the end of the game in my mind, and I was like, I just don't think, like I said, unless he misplays or over predicts, there's really no way out for me right now. And fortunately, he did just that. And so it was definitely, it was
Yeah.
pretty much the exact opposite of the previous week, where in the previous week I felt like I probably should have won that game, but then lost. And this week, I felt like I probably should have lost this game, but then won. So, so in my mind, it
Yeah.
evens out. I broke even. So, which is a reoccurring theme for me this season, I guess. But anyway, your thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, so this was a very long and hard fought match. Watching the game as a spectator, I have to say that it was a 50 plus minutes game, but really it didn't feel like it.
Yeah,
It was very enjoyable, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So
I appreciate that. Thank
good
you.
show from both of you. So great job. DRV, as always, he brought some crazy stuff. I remember, I believe, copycat mousehold, copying the Aurora Veil from Ninetales. That was crazy. That blew my mind.
Yeah, there were so many, like I can't even, like I know there was so much I didn't say, but like there were so
Yeah,
many like crazy plays, like the
yeah.
copycat mouse hold on the Aurora Veil, the freaking pounce
The pounce. Yeah,
on
I dropped
Hydrapple,
it.
the yeah, it's so many deadly 50/50s, just too much to even talk about. Just yeah,
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, the game lasts for, I believe,
it was over
something like
50.
50 or 60 turns. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it felt like every turn could have potentially be decisive. So
yeah.
that what really put me on the edge of my seat while watching this game. Rotom, as you said, is your MVP this season. Is doing absolutely great. Um, and it's such a menace because it's the classic electric type that you say, okay, I'm switching into my ground type, but Rotom can hydro pump, so it's very hard to switch against Rotom Wash,
Yes.
and he's doing this very very well. You are also playing well with it. A couple of predict. I remember a Shadow Ball in week 4 against the incoming Bramblegas. So yeah, you're playing very well with it. And these Ninetales, this Scarf Ninetales also caught DRV by surprise. It did very well. Your transactions coming in clutch too, because I believe the Terra Iron Leaves can put some work for you. He also did that in this game.
Yep.
And yes, at the end of the game, I believe that DRV had potentially the game won, but that's really what happened when games are so long and hard fought. You kind of, lose some conscious, and you can, lose the vision of it. So
Yeah.
he probably made a misplay there, but I believe that that was also a result from such a hard and an important fight that this was, and you needed that. You needed that standing wise. So now you are back where you belong the whole season. So
Yes. I'm
in
back
the
where I
in
want
the
to be,
mid
kind of.
part.
Yes, I'm in the hunt. Yes. So, yeah, yeah, it was just it was an incredible game for sure. I just yeah, that's I've said what I want to say about it, and yeah, it was a crazy game. Um, so
Yeah, GG to both of you. Really, it was such a pleasure to watch that. So
I
good
appreciate
job.
that. I've heard a lot of positive things about it, so I do appreciate that. So, um, but yeah, that is going to bring us to the final game of the week here, and that was Raymond versus Cody. So, once again, kind of a tale of two seasons here, with Raymond having a really strong season thus far, Cody having a little bit of a mixed season, and yeah, so to a lot of people's surprise, once again, I would call this a pretty sizable upset. It was in fact Cody that won this match very narrowly, 1-0 over Raymond. So that's another. Speaking of things you don't see very often in draft league, back-to-back losses for Raymond by hook or crook. Narrow as they may be. Um, very very uncommon to see that. So, but Cody, he came prepared. He knew his back was against the wall going into this match, and he came prepared. And even though the Terrapagos on Raymond's side put in a ton of work, Cody was able to weather the storm, so to speak. And then it was the Dragapult, and in the end, the Ukadugi that the Terra Ukadugi that in fact put the work in for Cody and got him over the finish line.
Yeah, this was a huge win for Cody, of course. Defeating Raymond is also always huge because he's an all-time great.
Yes.
Rough start for Raymond because Cody leaded the game with a special Dragapult with a substitute set, sub plus, I believe, Dragon Pulse, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt. Ray switches into Azu, but then Cody clicks T-Bot. Azu is pretty much strongly invested in special defense. It was an AV Azu. So T-Bolt shouldn't do that much, but he actually gets immediately the crit,
Ah, yeah.
and that becomes a two-hit KO. So Azu is able to kill the substitute, but now he's not able anymore to leave a second T-Bolt. So second T-Bolt, Azu goes down. Ray goes into his loyal and strong Terrafire Superior
Hmm.
that is able to leave a Dragon Pulse, goes for Leaf Storm, but here's the tech. That Dragapult was Mirror Herb.
Yeah.
So now Scorpion, yeah, sorry, Superior gets the plus
Yes.
2, but Dragapult also gets the plus 2.
Yeah.
And so Dragapult get even scarier. Um,
Absolutely.
so Raymond sacked the Jirachi, but now he's way in the back. He tries to get position to, to try a comeback, but he's still unlucky because he misses a gang shot with his Weezing against Primarina, and Primarina is able to kill the Weezing with a psychic move.
Hmm.
So now Cody is in a big, big advantage. I believe it was 5 versus 2.
Yeah.
Raymond goes for Calm Mind with Terrapagos, and Cody probably thinking that Raymond was attacking or doing something else, uh, tricks the Choice Scarf on the wrong turn on,
Yeah.
on Terrapagos. So Terrapagos become now a Choice Scarf +1, locked into Flamethrower, and starts getting a lot of kills
Yes.
to a point where the game gets super close. and now Ray has the chance to potentially win the game if Weavile gets a single flinch into Okidoji with his Icicle Clash. The flinch
Yes.
doesn't happen, and Okidoji gets the W. But again, similar stuff like Lazy Boy versus Emerald Miner. So a game that was actually very in commanding position for one person was became uncomfortably close,
Yes.
and he ended up being a 1-0 victory.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, there are definitely some hacks involved for sure.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
games, most of these games, I should say, are so close. They end up being so close that the slightest thing can throw it off, right? So like one hacks on one turn or like one misplay, one misread can tip the game one way or another. And I think this is a great example of that. And like you said, Ray had a little bit of bad luck. He was behind the eight ball. He almost was able to fight back into it and get the win, but not quite, unfortunately for him. So um, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely props to Cody for coming prepared.
Obstacle, yeah, great sets and great win, absolutely. Uh, Again, this league has a level so high that really, as you said, even a single RNG bad luck turn can completely shift the momentum of the game.
Yes, and I've certainly been on both sides of that myself as well. So I 100% agree with you. So,
Yep.
but yeah, that is going to do it. I think for the action from weeks 5 and 6, and so that of course is going to bring us to our standings check-in post week 6. And so there you can see up on the screen the current standings. Post week 6 for the BHDL7, and as you can see, things really starting to take shape. A little bit more differentiation. Things are starting to kind of fall into place, I think, more. And the playoff picture is starting to take shape. So at the top, you can see, of course, Scorpion there. With the three-way tie technically in record with Abomination and yourself, Kingbura, but of course Scorpion with that massive plus 15 differential, thanks largely in part to those last 2 weeks, was able to kind of shoot up the charts into first place there. But not far behind Abomination, very sizable differential as well, and same record. And then yourself, of course, with a little more of a modest differential, but still that same very solid, very commanding 5-1 record. So, how
Yeah.
does it feel? I want to
And
say, how does it feel to be up there with Scorpion and Al at this point in the league over the halfway point?
yeah, it feels really good. And now we are getting into the final part of the regular season. So we need to stay focused. We need to stay focused and to keep strong spot because it's going to be very important.
Yes, absolutely, and I believe it is the we're doing that same thing this season, where the top four coaches, or I guess really the top three coaches, actually get to choose their first round or quarterfinals opponent in the playoffs from the coaches in positions 5 through 8. So of course the coach in position 4 doesn't really get a choice, but they can't be chosen either. Um, so it is definitely very important to be as high up on the charts as you can. So, um, but not super far behind you guys. We have four coaches actually who have a 4-2 record. So you've got DRV, you've got Zach Mander, you've got Raymond, and you've got Brandon P. All with varying differentials. Of course, DRV being the highest of them with that massive differential. Zach and Ray, very solid differential as well, but not quite as high. And then you've got Brandon with more of a low down differential himself, but still rocking that 4-2 record in a very solid position. Of course, after that, you've got a little bit more of a right on the razor's edge forming than it was last time we looked at this, because still on that razor's edge, of course, you have me, Captain B-Nard. Like I said earlier, just breaking even is what I do apparently, because
Yeah. Yeah.
3-3 zero differential, just that is like, you couldn't be any more dead center. Like, eighth place, couldn't be any more dead center than that as of now.
We keep being the line that divides everything.
Yes, I'm notoriously this season the line that divides everything. So that's it's kind of funny for me, but I'll take it. So but
So
unlike last time, we have a couple of people breathing down my neck for that coveted spot. Of course, we've got Cody. With a little bit of a negative differential, same record, and then not far behind him, Lazy Boy, same record, a little bit more negative of a differential. And yeah, there's going to be these next couple of weeks are going to be critical. There's no two ways
Yeah.
about it. These are going to be very critical these next couple of weeks, especially given who the matchups are with. But
Yeah, we also have potentially some chances left, some small chances left from HIM and Hockeymaster. Of course, they have to probably win out. I don't think that you can do this with 4 and 5. I never saw someone do that, but I don't know.
yeah,
I believe you need 5 and 4 and a strong differential,
yeah,
and that's what HIM and Pokemaster can still do. So I can see them at least trying to go for it. And as you said, week 7 already is going to be super important because we have top two seeds, one against each other. Scorpion versus Abomination in what looks like a strong and long rivalry between those two.
yes.
And also, you versus Cody is a big one.
Yes, that is the most important game. I've been thinking about it all week, and it hasn't happened yet, but that is the game right there. Is you can see why. That is the razor's edge game right there. But yeah,
Yeah.
Scorpion versus Abomination, huge one as well. And like you said, in the case of HIM and Pokemaster, 4-2 record with not good differentials at this point, they do still have a chance. Going to be very difficult. They're going to have to basically prey on the downfall of all three of us, myself, Cody, and Lazy Boy, as well as perform solidly themselves. I do think at this point, though technically it's not mathematically impossible. I think the for the 1 and 5 crowd, your Emerald Miners, Stefan, RK9er, and Twisted, I do think that it's pretty much, as Emerald Miner would like to say, Jover at,
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, it's like I said, it's not impossible because if they win
No.
out with huge differentials at this point, and like I said, if they can prey on the downfall of everyone in front of them and win out with huge differentials, nothing is impossible at this point. I would say so. It's a long shot, but
Yeah.
it is possible. So,
Yeah.
but
And again, you versus Cody big one. I don't think it's still early to say win or go home, absolutely. But still, whoever wins there gets a strong step to to near the promised land, which are
yes.
which is the playoff right now.
Trust me, that is not lost on me, my friend. Trust me, I realize that. I realize
Yeah, yeah,
that very deeply. I realize that, and I'm not, it's not 100%, but it is as close to 100% as it can be without being 100%. I think in that
yeah.
scenario. So yeah, that is an important one for sure, and I'm hoping that I can be on point and ready for that game for sure. So that's the goal, but. Um,
Yeah, of
but
course.
yeah, I think that pretty much wraps things up here at this point. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. I would also like to thank my guest once again, Kingbura, for joining me today to discuss all the action out of weeks 5 and 6, and everything related to the current state of the Battle Hub Draft League Season 7. So thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you being here, and I know there's a time differential as well, so I appreciate your sticking with it and your insights into the game as well. So thank you.
No problem. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. I appreciate it. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
that is going to be it, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.